Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyperroll with Autarch, and today we're going to do a build that we've talked about before. It was in the Five-Build Roundup, but I wanted to do a slightly deeper dive on it so you can get through some of the decision making and some of the stuff that goes along. In the end, all of these builds come down to luck as to whether you win or lose. It's a crit here or the right item and lots of other things beyond your control. In this case, we ended up with Prismatic Prelude, which means the first augment is going to be Prismatic. And one of the Prismatic augments that I like the best is New Recruit. Although I do always like to check other options just in case something that screams at me pops up. But New Recruit at the Prismatic level is going to give you a duplicator and, of course, an additional spot. Here we end up finding a Big Shot Corki, which in my mind says it's time to go Big Shot Sentinels. What's also nice is when you have the New Recruit, you're going to be able to get 6 Big Shots, 6 Sentinels. Otherwise, you have to choose, and I usually choose to go 6 Sentinels, 4 Big Shots, and then a flex champion involved. Here, we don't have to make that choice. I've only been given tank items so far, so they are going on the front line. Obvious items for Corki, Rageblade is number 1. After that, you can choose from a variety of them depending on what you get. Also, normally I would be prioritizing my Sentinels over Big Shots, but I'm just not getting them right now. So I am able to get to 4 Big Shots, which is keeping us competitive despite the lack of a front line and lack of really good Corki items that have been presented so far. He's just got a sword. It is time for our second set of augments, and one that I like with this particular build a lot is Sticks and Stones. Again, probably a good idea to roll whatever you get just to see if something insane comes up, but Sticks and Stones is good because you don't necessarily need lots of items on your Sentinels. You can pick one that's going to serve as your main tank, and then everyone else will just be naturally tanky from the ability itself. We did manage to get a sparring glove, so we were able to make an infinity edge on Corki. We're still not getting the Sentinels, but with the 4 Big Shots, you're getting enough additional damage that it will carry you through, especially these early rounds. Luckily, we were able to find the 4th Sentinel. Blitzcrank is one of the best. He's the best Sentinel there is, so that is going to help us now in the latter part of the game. It's time for an item choice, and we are desperately searching for the elements of a Rageblade, but we haven't gotten it yet. We are able to get the elements of a Sunfire Cape, so we can go ahead and put that on Cassante because he is serving as essentially our main central tank in the build. Now, why is Cassante getting the items instead of, say, Blitz or Mordekaiser or one of the more powerful Sentinels? It's simply convenience. We got Cassante first, so we slam the items on him. We don't have a magnetic remover, so on him they stay. And we are just ahead of our final augments, and we really want the items for a Rageblade, and there they are. So we are finally going to get a critical item on Corki way late in the game. Nothing super exciting here. I don't really need Pandora's items anymore. Inspiring Epitaph will give some bonuses after a champion dies, so that will help keep the team strong even as the Sentinels go down. Now, this is kind of an odd point in the match because we are 1 Corki away, presuming we use that champion duplicator on Corki. But the odds of rolling another Corki are really low since we're at 19% for a 1, but I don't necessarily want to dump him. During the NPC round, we finished off our Corki items. Now we have the full 6 Sentinels, 4 Big Shots, which is often where this ends, but again, with New Recruit, we're going to be able to bring in the 2 additional Big Shots. Whether to dump Corki or to keep him, main reason I'm keeping him right now is that we're still winning, so it's hard to consider dumping him. And remember, luck is always a factor in this. Item-wise, nothing great here. The Protector's Vow can go on Cassante as a final item. We get the final Corki we need, but roll, and we don't need to use the champion duplicator because there's another Corki, and we also now have a 2-star Ezreal. And I should have swapped out the Ezreal for Kaisa because Ezreal's just a better champion overall in this, so that would have been a better move, but with us at 20 health, I'm not really concerned at this moment about winning or losing. We're pretty close to the end, and we're in a great position. We found a Jhin, so we're going to be able to absolutely go to the 6 big shots in stage 10. These items, nothing really here that's going to be great. We don't want to load up the front line anymore. We have our singular tank, and we can move the items off Cassante if that presents a problem. End up just getting the Titan's Resolve and adding it onto Misfortune because it was the best item of what was left. And at this point, I'm not really changing or swapping anything because this is working. We are now against a rapid fire build that ended up with a Sona in the back, which can often be very good, but she has no items, so her casts are not going to do enough, and we're able to get through. And it leads us to another item choice, which again is okay. Guardbreaker is definitely not bad when you're facing people who have a shield. It will make you more powerful, so it's not a terrible thing, and we're just going to continue to load up Misfortune for the moment. This team is going to present a problem. That is a Disco Dazzler team with a Twisted Fate, actually 2 Twisted Fates with lots of items, and they are protected enough that they're able to get through and beat us, but it does lead us into the top 4. And now we can go to the full 6 Sentinel, 6 Big Shot, and have all the buffs. Item-wise, backline items only at this point, because remember, we're still shredding and sundering the front line. We're going to go ahead and try to find items for Ezreal. When Ezreal casts, it helps, so Spear of Sojin is good. Last Whisper, useless, because we are already shredding. We're going to take the Misfortune items, put them onto Jhin. We want to keep the bench generally clear because Jhin will set up his cannons there and do most of the damage that way. And while it was a little bit tempting to take the headliner Jhin, I did not want to sell Corki at this point. He is gold 3 stars, he's itemized really well, so yeah, wasn't going to do that. As you can see, the front line holds up long enough, and the big shots just do a ridiculous amount of damage, with Corki leading the damage charts. Now let's talk about the reality of TFT. There's a lot of luck involved. I end up against the Ghost team of the team that I'm really most afraid of, which is the Disco Dazzler team. Notice when it's a Ghost team, it doesn't have its disco balls. It doesn't have the same impact that it otherwise would. This team probably could have beat me, but they're facing off the other team, which sort of counters them. And that team, which is a KDA Spellweaver team, ends up knocking out the Disco Dazzler team, and we're left facing the Spellweaver team that we might be able to beat. But this is not necessarily going to be easy. I started with my main damage across in the hopes that I could just slice through and stay away from their Akali, who does get focused on the left side of my board, but a damaged Sona just takes us out, and I think, well, this might just be a second place to an emo spellweaving Annie. But now that it isn't just sudden death, thank you Riot for making that change, I get to try different things. One of the downsides of KDA is whatever the setup is kind of what you're stuck with, so my board can change a little bit while theirs is fairly static. And that allowed me to switch my carries around, get some lucky crits, and it's GG for everyone. Big Shot Sentinels is very viable. It will usually get you into the top 4, and with a little luck to first place. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have an absolutely awesome day.